Over the past centuries, the development of legal science essentially for any state system improvement has been incredibly dynamic. Its role has increased significantly in the society. All forms of social life are rationalized through scientific knowledge. Laws in society are the keystones of any state structure. Domestic legal scholars are engaged in studying the legal science from different angles. This year marks a significant date for them, the 20th anniversary of the Institute of Legislation of the Republic of Kazakhstan. It is the main domestic legal science institute which has proven its credibility through new scientific achievements and its contribution to the improvement of the national legislation and practice. The institute has found its place in the system of the institutes of applied sciences of our country. I can hardly imagine the government and the Ministry of Justice being able to carry out their activities without the institute's assistance. Today, there is enough evidence to say that the country's greatest achievements were made due to its scientific and legal capacity. The core provision which became the driving force of Kazakhstan's success has been the President's key role in ensuring the rule of law and the firmness of legal principles. This was substantially achieved through the establishment of Kazakhstan's Legislation Institute. Due to the President's balanced and wise policy, for over 20 years, the Institute has been a strong base for the society's dynamic development, preservation of historical experience, science-based protection of rights, and freedoms of man and citizen. Unique approaches to implementing legal support for state activities have given impetus for impressive progress in all spheres of public life and have helped to form the Kazakh model of statehood. Kazakhstan's people's growth and welfare are a proof to the statement.
В соответствии с указом президента от 16 июня 1993 года
By the President's decree dated June 16, 1993, a series of measures on improving legal reform was adopted. The same decree commissioned for establishing of Legislation Institute, whose responsibilities included the analysis of existing legislation and participation in the development of new laws, regulations, and legal acts, publishing Jeti Jargı, periodical specialized in legal literature.
Издательство «Жета Жаргы», которое специализировалось на выпуске специальной юридической литературы.
The idea of establishing the Legislation Institute belongs to Nagashibai Shaykenov, Kazakhstan's most acclaimed legal scholar who has contributed greatly to the development of conceptual issues of jurisprudence, the essence of law, societal rights, and interest, as well as the legal community, legal support, and market reforms as well. His name is directly linked to the history and the development of the Institute of Legislation.
После обретения Казахстаном независимости, когда перед государством были поставлены задачи по формированию...
After Kazakhstan gained its independence, it had to form its own legal system, adopt basic laws defining the state structure and civil society. The state had to set its basic reference points.
В этот период определялись ориентиры государства.
By the decision of the head of state in the late 90s and early 2000s, the country's capital was moved to Astana. All the strategic government agencies and organizations, including the Institute of Legislation, were relocated to the new capital.
В данном институте работали у нас величайшие ученые, на мой взгляд, нашего Казахстана.
The greatest scholars have worked in this institute. Some of them are known and recognized beyond Kazakhstan. Among them are such scholars as Salik Zimanov, Maidan Suleimanov, Anatoly Didenko, Gairat Sapargaliyev, Ilyasova, Padaprigara, Chukmaitov, Alibekov, Amirkhanova, and Klinkin. Every one of them has contributed to the development of our national legislation.
Становление нашего национального законодательства.
In March 2014, the Institute of Legislation has gained a status of scientific organization accredited by the Ministry of Education and Science of Kazakhstan. Its main area of focus was scientific research work. The same year, its staff increased from 62 to 101 experts.
Обеспечение научно-исследовательской
The Institute conducts research and carries out scientific analysis of relations and interactions of justice agencies with other government bodies, representing the representative, executive power, and supervisory authorities. The Institute also studies the legal relations between all these agencies.
Надзорные и выявляет основы взаимоотношений этих государственных органов между собой.
The institution's main objective is the implementation of the President's task on the improvement of the quality of laws. This requires capacity building and human resources development achieved through attracting highly qualified legal scholars from different regions and leading research centers of the country. The academic staff of the Institute includes 2 academicians, 18 doctors of legal science, 31 candidates of legal science, 2 candidates of history, 1 candidate of philology, 1 PhD, and 16 masters of law.
В этом институте работали наиболее известные наши юристы, которые представляют цвет.
Kazakhstan's most famed lawyers have worked in the institution. They are the light of our science education and pride of this institution. Their views and opinions on enhancement of the role of legal science and the development of laws in any industry and sector are heard and valued at the highest government level and in parliament.
В момент формирования норм права по любой отрасли, по любому направлению.
The current head of the Institution of Legislation is Asylbek Smagulov, Doctor of Legal Science and a professor. He is the author of more than 100 studies, including 10 textbooks and monograms. This year we celebrated the 20th anniversary of our institute. Scholars have come from different countries, particularly from Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and took an active part in the conference dedicated to the 20th anniversary of our institute. In order to improve the lawmaking and legal systems necessary for socio-economic and socio-political development of the country, the government and the Republic of Kazakhstan granted a status of a public organization to the Institute of Legislation on January 22nd of 2010.
Сейчас усилия нашего института
At the moment, our efforts are aimed at providing quality consulting services to other public authorities in development of bills.
другим государственным органам при подготовке законопроектов.
In the pursuit of its objective, the Institute is involved in drafting of laws, research in Kazakhstan's legal system development, legal support to state agencies, and scientific linguistic expertise. Execution of an order of the President on improving the quality of laws is one of the challenges in ensuring their stability, as well as the complexity and regulation force. On September 16, 2011, the government of Kazakhstan decreed to include the members of the Legislation Institute in the working groups engaged in drafting and the development of laws. This includes development and the review of draft laws and their concepts, development and valuation of draft laws and their concepts.
Очень важно, чтобы в этот процесс были вовлечены профессионалы. Это могут быть и не только...
Involving the experts in this type of work is crucial. This includes both lawyers who practice in this field, but also the doers who are actually engaged in the work of a certain field. One can create elaborated and beautifully written legal models, but they can be inefficient and counterproductive. Therefore, involving experienced people and expert organizations is very important, and that's where the crucial role of the Institute of Legislation comes from.
Поэтому и важно, чтобы рядом всегда находились опытные эксперты и экспертные организации. Вот такую роль на сегодняшний день, по мере возможности, я вот это вижу, это выполняет Институт законодательства.
In June 2011, the Center of Linguistics was established under the Institute of Legislation. The main objective of the center is to conduct mandatory scientific language expertise of texts of draft laws in the state language in order to ensure the authenticity of legal documents in Russian and Kazakh languages. Since the center has been open, its capacity has been built by the attraction of skilled experts in philology, linguistics, and jurisprudence to the work of the center.
Қазір осы лингвистикалық сараптама орталық құрылғалы бері қарай
Since the center was open, the quality of language expertise has increased. This has resulted in the improvement of quality of draft texts and their translations. The staff of the center is highly qualified. I think this is a great achievement.
бұл үлкен жетістік деп ойлаймын.
On March 2, 2011, the Minister of Justice decreed to create a working group on the development of standardized legal terminology in the Kazakh language. The Institute of Legislation, the Ministry of Justice, and a number of non-governmental organizations have jointly conducted legal monitoring of laws to assess their effectiveness and to ensure their stability. One of the most important activities of the Institution of Legislation during the last 20 years has been the cooperation with a number of international organizations. The Institute cooperates with international research institutes of the Russian Federation, Ukraine, Germany, South Korea, and many others. In 2012, the Institute of Legislation has signed 13 agreements and memorandums. Moreover, the Institute of Legislation is involved in the review of draft international legal acts in the framework of those international organizations to which Kazakhstan is a member, including the Eurasian Economic Community. The institution conducts fundamental and applied research based on comparative legal studies of foreign countries in order to improve the national legislation. The Institute provides a wider publicity and an opportunity to discuss the results of the Institute's and its international partners' work by ensuring the quarterly magazine called The Herald of Kazakhstan's Legislation Institute, which was included in the registry of the scientific publications by the Ministry of Education and Science in 2009.
Ежеквартально институт издает вестник свой, и вот как раз-таки в этом вестнике сотрудники института публикуют как раз.
The Institute publishes its quarterly periodical. The scholars of the Institute publish their scientific and methodological works, as well as articles in it. The readership of the periodical is not limited to the legal scholars of our country, but includes our partners, especially from the countries of the Customs Union, including a number of foreign countries.
Ряд других стран, в том числе зарубежных, когда касается, например, вопросов интеллектуальной собственности.
Since 2006, 920 scientific articles of 303 authors from Kazakhstan, Russia, Turkey, Belarus, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Azerbaijan, Mongolia, Germany, Lithuania, and other countries have been published in 28 issues of the magazine, with a circulation of 8,400 copies.
Кроме того, близость научных издательских учреждений в
The proximity of the scientific publishing organizations allows us to save time, plan properly, and use our scientific and creative potential for different publications.
научный, издательский и творческий потенциал.
Over the years, the Institute has compiled and published more than 50 books, including Tore BTG, Kupshak, Polish version of laws of Armenian, Mukhtar, Goshan, and others. The Institute of Legislation has established itself as a leading research organization that proves quality consulting services in drafting of laws.
Институт будет дальше развиваться, он найдет свое и уже нашел.
The Institute will continue to evolve. A lot of lawyers, theorists, and legal practitioners will master their skills and polish their legal knowledge by reading the works produced by this institution.
Наверное, будут шлифовать свои знания и совершенствовать их.
Today, it is not hard to see that the Institution of Legislation of Kazakhstan has become one of the most crucial establishments in the legislative system of Kazakhstan.